All right, so another video. This is what we're gonna talk about today. So, as you can see, what's on my screen is the Nolan Wills case, and the videos I've been watching of this. This video isn't necessarily about the Nolan Wills case. It's just something I want folks to keep in mind when just watching content in general on the internet. Okay, so I first heard about the Nolan Wills situation like right after it happened, like on the news with my mom, and I was like, immediately, I was like, okay, the black man just got killed by 3 white men. Immediately, that was my immediate thought. I was like, okay, a black man just got murdered by 3 white men, and that's what my mom was reinforcing as well. As it went on, it just seemed super sketchy, so I started watching content on it. And naturally it came up. I didn't even seek out this content, it just naturally came up. Nolan Wells' case just got even worse. Black community said never be the only one. When the only black friend ends up dead. Gets even worse. Pool party photo. Nolan Wells found alive. He was murdered. These suspects need to be arrested for Nolan Wells' murder. The tragic death of Nolan Wells. So, this specific video is what I want to focus on. So, all of these videos are people's opinion. And then you hear Bruce Rivers. He also gives his opinion, very few opinions, but he gives his opinion. I watch Bruce Rivers because he's very based. And I focus my content in being, my opinions rather, just in life. I try to be as factual as possible, We are emotional beings, and there's nothing wrong with that. You have to acknowledge, that we are emotional beings, and that matters. But I try to be as factual as possible. Here, we have no facts. Like, I can't even have an opinion on this. But yet, I did. Subconscious. Not even sub. It's very conscious. I had an opinion on this. I was like, this dude just got murdered. And I don't want that to be the case. Like, I don't want that to be the case. I don't. But what I really want to focus on this video. So, I watched Bruce Rivers, nonetheless. This is my feed. And I watched Bruce Rivers. And all we need is the intro of this to, kind of see what I'm trying to say. So, here's the intro.
Let me tell you something, what happens when people die. We want to believe that there's some other reason, that we can explain somebody's death. Especially when we don't have a reason. We got to fill in the gaps with what? Speculation, misinformation. And if this, very able-bodied young man died, it had to be from some nefarious means.
Had to.
Right?
Had to be.
That's what we have to say. But we don't have that. Where is the foul play, Mr. Crump? What happened? You don't know. And no one's trying to sweep anything under the rug. If there's a homicide, you don't think it's pursued just because he's black? I don't buy that for a minute. Now, does Mississippi have a problem? I spent 3 days going through Alabama, and there is just a shade difference between Alabama and Mississippi. And when I went through Alabama, you can fucking have Alabama. I was going through the Mobile River and the Tentom and the Tennessee, and I went through all the Tom Bigby River, and I got shot at in Alabama. Because I was, putting up too much of a wake. Because I had a big boat and they have a small shore. They didn't like me.
Right. So we want to assign a reason, and I do too. I want to know what happened. Like, either way. But what we see from this feed that I have is these are conclusions that may or may not be true. These are conclusions. Now, I will say, once again, it does look fishy. You must admit that it does look fishy. And you want to know what happened to this black boy. This looks super fishy. But you still don't know nonetheless. Like, regardless of, what beliefs we want to have, we have to function. We just have to. We live in America. We have to function on innocent until proven guilty. And I know people say, And I agree with this too. If it had been the other way around, the race was flipped, then black boys would be in jail. I agree. I agree with that too. It may or may not be right, but I agree. If it was 3 black boys and 1 white boy, they would be in jail or immediately brought in for questioning. I believe that. But I also believe in what's right. And, innocent until proven guilty. That's what I believe is right. Just because it would have been done to my skin color doesn't mean it should be done to the other. Innocent until proven guilty. And the truth is, it's so very, very fishy. But you just have to let the investigation happen. We do. And this video isn't about Nolan Wills. So we're going to... That has pissed me off for the past week. I don't even want to think about that anymore. So that's not what this video is about. This video is mainly about, we have to just pay attention to what we're watching on YouTube. I'm a heavy YouTube consumer. Heavy YouTube consumer. And the biggest thing is I have to pay attention to what opinions I'm putting in my head. Because all of these are assuming something happened. Whereas then I watch Bruce and I'm like, well, he's not assuming something happened or didn't happen because we actually don't know. And I was kind of on the fence of we don't know. Especially after some people's biggest proof was that Instagram post where it's an Instagram reel. They're moving across them. You can barely hear somebody say, "Give me my phone." That might have been him. That might not have. But that's like, I'm like, that's not evidence, bro, of anything. That's just not evidence of anything. That's just not. You can't even make him out. So, like, we need some concrete evidence of something. And I think the autopsy is going to be the biggest help to figure out, what was cause of death and all that. But, we have to stay grounded. When we're, like, watching content, we have to keep in mind, we are our own people. These are human beings. They're human beings. They have the right to our opinion. But these are human beings' opinions at the end of the day. And even so is Bruce Rivers. That's an opinion. But what all he says here is that we just don't know. That's all he really says here is that we just don't know. So I think it's very crucial. Put myself back on the big screen. I think it's very crucial that we just use discernment when we're watching this stuff. Don't really let any, obviously be open to different opinions, but don't let one opinion that you get off the internet, control how you feel. Come to your own conclusions. And in this situation, in my opinion, I have no conclusions until there's evidence, because I know less information about this than any other thing that I've ever watched. It's super fishy, and yeah, but when y'all are out here, we're in a real online world. When y'all are taking this stuff in, just try to look at both sides. And I ain't saying believe both sides or even, have sympathy for both sides. I ain't saying that. But just look at both sides. Just look at it. Just look at both sides. Look at a neutral opinion. And then come to your conclusion, Because the algorithm will push onto you what you want to hear, unfortunately. So you have to stay grounded, yet stay disciplined. And really do the work for yourself, because otherwise the algorithm will just push you to one side or the other, and you don't want that. That's not fun. That's not fun. Your opinion just becomes somebody else's. That's not enjoyable at all. You want to be your own person. So that's the main message of today. Anyways, y'all stay safe, stay grounded, stay knowledgeable. All right, peace.